What is up, everybody? This is Mike from GYLD bringing you yet another market review. And before we get started, if you're looking to get funded with up to $400,000, visit gyldtrading.com. Now let's get straight to the video. Right, everybody, so here we have the chart of the dollar index as usual. And this is going to be the last week of June, so let's make the most of it before the summer season starts. Now, generally, summer season, it tends to be slower because people tend to take holidays, they go away from their charts, which obviously applies even to the bigger players. So generally, the markets tend to be slower, but given the situation around the world, the uncertainty, the wars, and all of that, it's pretty safe to assume that the markets will be moving a lot, at least compared to other summers. So with the dollar, we can see that we made another higher high here. We even closed with a body above the previous high. However, there is some rejection and it's not the most clear break. So we would like to see another candle close with a full body above. Other than that, we have some nice zone of inefficiency that we could look to pull back to. And if we do get priced there, we could look to position ourselves from the lower time frame. Obviously, we are still targeting the previous highs over here, right? So it's either that or any pullbacks on the lower time frames after a break higher. That would be ideal. Okay, next up we have the euro dollar. So euro dollar, we can see that it pulled back into this daily order block, respecting it perfectly. And looking at the 4-hour, nothing really clear in here. It's been just ranging here. So not ideal, but it did give us some break below here, some pullback maybe on a lower time frame. This could be traded, and further break and further pullback. So this was our target, I believe, from last week. We still haven't met it, so this target still stands true. And we also have these lows lower on the daily. We have these lows which will eventually become a target for the price. So it will be interesting to see whether we first get a break of structure below and then a pullback up before continuing the movement lower, or we fail to make a new low here and instead we go higher before we move lower. Which scenario like this is ideal? When you fail to make a low or a high and then you go above or below the previous high or low where people would have their stop losses. That is an ideal scenario for selling or vice versa, right? So euro dollar still bearish. Here we have the pound dollar. I've been mentioning that I do not like this one, but lately we have been starting to get some movement in. So over here we have a sweep of the previous high. You can see the nice wick here. A lot of people would be chasing the breakout buys here, or they would be looking at a lower time frame, some pullbacks, buying from here. If we look at the lower time frame, you can see that we have a nice big impulse, so people would definitely see this and try to buy any of these. However, overall we broke lower. Even on the daily, we have a break of structure lower. Not a clean one here, but then we have another one. This pullback here also filled this inefficiency, which is very nice sign, as it's holding the bearish order flow. And therefore, if we have a pullback into this level of inefficiency, we could look to start positioning ourselves for the short side. However, still euro dollar is preferred, but this one is finally a little bit better than it was, so we can start watching that now. All right, so here we have gold. Gold looks absolutely amazing, and it's going according to our plan from last week. So you can see that we have this sweep of liquidity, sweep of the previous high, followed by a break of structure here, right? Indicating a lower time frame downtrend. And then this last bullish candle before the break lower is an order block, and it holds as a solid level of resistance. And you can see it's literally perfect. It's a full body candle, no wicks, just one candle up and then boom. And as you can see, after the pullback, which was very nice, choppy pullback, slow, no big moves in here until we got to the order block, very beautiful. And after we reach that, you can see that the reaction is very impulsive move down. So this would be, the previous low would be still our next target. After that, we also have these lows over here. And we know that overall on a higher time frame, from the higher perspective, we are bullish, but that will take some time before we get to some reasonable zones to buy again, which could be these levels of support, it could be these levels of support, but we will have to wait and see. So the gold remains very short term and bullish long term. All right, so here we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we are still eyeing this previous high over here, the all-time high. And we have a pullback coming in currently. We had this first attempt where price pulled back and it tried to make a new high. It failed to do so. And now we have a price going lower below the previous low. So this is what we mentioned about price failing to make new highs or new lows and then going higher or lower, in this case lower. And we're currently in a zone of inefficiency right here to the left. And here we also have some levels of support. So this will be very important zones for the upcoming week. And since we're already in it, we just need to see how price reacts within it, whether we get some impulsive breaks of structure to the upside, which would be ideal for the longs, breaking this previous high, and then potentially some pullback we could be looking to buy. Overall, as I said, we're still eyeing the previous all-time high. Right. So next up we have the S&P 500 or the US 500. And we are currently, the move up, it's still extremely strong from the higher time frame. On the daily, we barely even stopped. Like these small candles, not even a pullback. This is a pullback. And after that, we just got one consecutive move up. So right now, from a lower time frame perspective, you could be looking to buy. However, note that the higher we are, the more overextended we are, the less likely any trades are going to work out. Or if they're going to work out, it's going to be quick. They're going to be quick, small trades because the trend is, or it has to slow down and it has to pull back before continuing, right? We can just keep going higher and higher and higher without really stopping. So ideally, we would like to see some pullbacks, at least below these lows where people would have their stop losses right now. And we have nice levels of support right here. So we're looking for a pullback. We do not want to sell as that is very risky. For those of you who are advanced, obviously it is possible, but it is not recommended. And we would like to see some pullback before we can buy again. So the S&P remains bullish, but ideally we want to see a pullback, a deeper pullback. And last but not least, we have the Nasdaq or the US 100, and that's pretty much the same. We're starting some pullback possibly. This last push really slow, it barely made a new high, and then we rejected hard. So currently we're possibly starting a short-term downtrend on the lower time frame, like the hourlies. So that's that. And we would like to see some pullback, once again, as with the S&P, into some of these lower zones of support here or here. And we will have to see. Eventually we could switch to shorts, but it is very early for that. So maybe if we get some pullback and then another break of structure, we could be looking to short. But obviously it would have to be lower risk since it is a counter trend trade. And we would have to be very careful, but it is a possibility. So that is it pretty much for the rest of the month, guys. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, we would appreciate any kind of feedback in the comment section. And I will see you guys next weekend. have a nice rest of the month. Cheers. Obviously, we couldn't end this session without a rundown of the economic calendar. So here we have the investing.com economic calendar for the upcoming week. And starting with Monday, let's take a look at Monday. We don't have any high impact news. However, we do have a few medium impact news. So this Monday, it could move. Unlike most Mondays, which are usually slower, this one could bring some movement. However, we still do not expect a lot. We keep our expectations smaller, and this Monday could be good. All right, so on Tuesday, we seem to have no high impact news during the London session. Actually, we have no news whatsoever in the London session. So Tuesday London should be slower. However, during the New York session, we have CPIs for the Canadian dollar, and we have the CB consumer confidence for the US dollar at 10 a.m. New York time. This New York time, so that is 2 hours after the New York session open, right? So Tuesday, New York session focused. On Wednesday, once again, we have nothing for the London. We just have one medium impact news for the euros. Other than that, it seems to be a day focused on the New York session once again, as we have the new home sales for May. And we also have the crude oil inventories, which affects the Canadian dollar and the US oil. So Wednesday, it's a New York session day once again. Then on Thursday, we do have a bit of medium impact news, which is gonna be nice, obviously. But once again, we do not have pretty much anything for London session. Once again, we are focused heavily on the New York session, as we have a lot of news here, some medium impact news. We have the durable goods orders, we have the GDP quarter on quarter. So this is gonna be very important for the week. This is gonna be one of the biggest drivers this week. We also have the initial jobless claims and a bunch of medium impact news on top of that. So Thursday should be very good for intraday trading, and it should bring some volatility for sure. So Thursday, very good day so far. Okay, and last but not least, on Friday, we have holiday for the New Zealand. So New Year's Day, no idea why. It's not New Year, but I guess it is in New Zealand. But other than that, we finally have some London session news. We have some medium impact news for the British pound, and we have the GDP, the gross domestic product for the British pound. On top of that, we also have some medium impact news for the euros. And to finish the day and the week off, we have some high impact news for the dollar during the New York session. We have the core PCE price index, and we have the Chicago PMI. So these news definitely going to be a driving factors for the US dollar. And generally, the week seems to be focused on the US dollar and the New York session. So those will be the most important times during the week. Seems to be Thursday and Friday and Tuesday even. During New York session, you can expect some fireworks, right? So that is it, guys. That's everything for the rest of the month, and I'll see you next weekend. Cheers.